Howdy everybody, Steve here, KM9G. You guys have been telling me about using tool batteries for powering up ham radios for a while, and I have had some reservations. A lot of those tool battery adapters that go from the 18 volts or the 20 volts or whatever the voltage is of your tool battery pack over to regular clean DC for our radios isn't really clean. When Senior reached out to me, I asked them specifically if these things were RFI quiet or if they were noisy, and they didn't answer. Okay, well, send them anyway, and we will do a review on the channel. We'll see what they're all about, and we will test them out ham radio style. These may be fantastic tool batteries, but I already have tool batteries because I have tools and I need the tool batteries. What I don't have is a decent adapter. So we will see if these things serve that multi-purpose, and if they do, then this is what we're going to be getting from now on. They also have a regular big boy battery. This one is 4 amp hours, this one is 8 amp hours. The big boy battery doesn't have any USB output ports, so we got to figure out some way of getting power out of that is 12 volt regulated, but that gets you back into those noisy DC to DC converters, and that's what we want to stay away from. In order to make these things work with ham radio, you need something called a trigger cable. It is USB-C on one end, and inside here there's a little tiny chip that says for this other end, which is a 5525 barrel jack, that I want 12 volts DC. And then all we have to worry about is what the amp rating is on this battery pack. This battery pack here will put out 3 amps at 12 volts over USB. We will just have to figure out whether it's noisy or not. Let's go take a look and see what we get in the box, see what these batteries are made of, and then we'll plug a radio into it and see if it's noisy or not. I love the fact that USB-C has come as far as it has so that we can use all kinds of different batteries and create all kinds of different outputs using USB-C. So I have 3 boxes here from Senior, and we're going to take a look at what these guys are. First off, let's see what's in box number 1. This looks like it is an 18 volt battery pack, max of 20 volts. It is a lithium ion in chemistry. There's a USB-C port there, and there is a USB-A port there, and they're under mildly waterproof covers that have built-in retention. This says that it is 2 lights charged, and the fuel gauge goes from full to empty. And it looks like you have some charging connectors here on the bottom. We'll explore that a little bit more. It'll make a little bit more sense as we get through. The Type A port has an output of 5 volts, 2.2 amps DC. The Type C port is an input or an output of 5 to 15 volts, up to 3 amps, and 20 volts up to 2.25 amps, 45 watts max. So this would struggle with charging a laptop, but probably still could do it. But at, I don't see a 12 volt, it says, okay. But at 12 volts, 3 amps worth of output, this will easily power a QRP radio, which is something that we are going to do. And maybe while we're here, let's take a look and see what it looks like inside. But we're not even gonna plug it in. We're just gonna go straight to taking it apart. Don't take batteries apart at home unless you are extremely comfortable with stripping out screws. Yeah, that screw is in there, good. All right, we'll try the other side then. I didn't expect a soft screw deeply embedded into plastic. We'll just act like that never happened. And we will be more forceful on future screws. I did try a bigger Phillips head, so that's not what the problem is. These things are just torqued way down, so I'm being extra careful and applying extra pressure. Probably telling me extra reasons to not do this thing. Oh wow, they are the regular round 18650 style cells. Cool. I'll put that over to the side. Let's see what we have. This is the beauty in the Senior system. I happen to bleed yellow when you prick my veins, so this is for DeWalt, and this looks like your typical DeWalt drill sled. And what you do, this is where the magic comes in. This slides on, and now we have a DeWalt drill battery. But for you people that bleed red, or the other yellow shade, the greenish shade, they do have these adapter shoes for your Ryobis or for your Milwaukees or for whatever you have. And it still allows you to use the USB-C and the USB-A ports while you are charging your drill. And as far as the footprint goes, this looks like it is slightly bigger than the regular size batteries, but not as big as the max size batteries. I don't have a max size battery for comparison purposes. And then once you hit the release, it just slides right off, and it's on there pretty firmly, so you're not too worried. I'm not too worried about this thing sliding off. And these are L-shaped channels here to hold the sled onto the battery pack. So that's perfect. All right, let's see what we get in the other box. This is an excellent replacement battery pack. So this is probably a bigger version of the battery that we just looked at, and it already has a tool on it, a tool adapter on it. And this doesn't say, but it looks like it's another DeWalt battery. So let's get that box out of the way, and that box out of the way, and that box out of the way. So this one here clocked in at, I think it said 4 amp hours on it. Where is it? Yeah, 4,000 milliamp hours. This one clocks in at 8 amp hours. So 4 amp hours, 8 amp hours. And that takes care of some of that size discrepancy there. And on the big boy, what do we have? We have a full charge, it says. I'm sure it's not fully charged. And there is a light on the front. And that is on with a long press of the battery indicator. And then off. So that's your DeWalt shoe that's on there. And then your 8 amp hour battery. And then this one here does not have any output. So we would need to adapt these outputs. And they do have adapters available to change these guys over to whatever voltage you would like. So one of the concerns that I have with these, so there's a bit of a size difference between the 4 and the 8, as you'd imagine. It looks like there's probably one additional cell. And because the shoe is embedded, this might be a 12 cell pack instead of an 8 cell pack. Well, we're here. Let's keep on unscrewing. That's why I like having screwdriver sets like this. I get to pick the right size and have everything handy. Even if it is metric versus SAE, or whatever the case may be. And I know them. So I'm going to imagine that these are extra torqued tight as well. Now, these are not anywhere near as bad as the other ones were. And bad being subjective. Bad for me disassembling it, not bad for holding it together. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, and then these are actually bigger cells than the other ones were. And like I said, be careful when you're opening up batteries, because that is live exposed voltage. But I wanted to see what kind of batteries. These look like the 21700s, where the other ones look like 18650s. And whenever you're screwing things into plastic that have already had threads put into them, it's best to spin backwards a little bit. Listen to this. That little click means that my teeth are properly engaged, and I'm not going to be cutting new threads into the plastic. Okay, let's get some stuff rearranged here. This here is that trigger cable that I told you about. So we're going to take that and we're going to plug it into USB-C. And it automatically tells me that we've got 2 bars of charge out of 4, which is enough to get this test done. So this is on and doing its thing, and it may or may not be broadcasting RF all over the place. What else I have is my ICOM 705, and you can see on the back here, we have no internal battery installed. So we are 100% powered off of this cable. Plug that into the side. Radio is on and booting up. There's my logo. No battery, 12 volts. RF power is 100%, which on this radio is 10 watts. And we can already see some stuff on the waterfall there. Let's go span. Make that as wide as we can. That's 25K on the waterfall. And that is S9. S9 the whole way. Okay, so for comparison's sake, I'm going to unplug the tool battery. And I'm going to plug in the built-in battery. We're down to 50% power, 7 volts, and we're still at an S9 noise floor. Right here in the corner, you can kind of see if I can get the glare off of that. You can see the noise meter right there, and we're at S9 on that with the regular internal battery. So I don't see any difference there. So we need to go outside. Get away from some of the noise generators that I have running in here. Well, I took it outside and the S9 didn't get any better, but that's not the only trick I have up my sleeve. Let's get back inside where it's warm, because it's cold out here today. And it's also windy, which doesn't really help the fact that it's cold. It makes it actually colder. And we'll see what we can do to demonstrate noise or no noise. I think you're going to be impressed with this, because I found a trick while I was outside freezing. I think an RV park might be one of the most hostile environments. We had an S9 noise floor inside, we had an S9 noise floor outside. And inside I have a solar charge controller and an inverter and a TV. And right now I'm running a dehydrator, and I've got the DC to DC converter that's built into the RV and all kinds of other stuff. So this is actually a really good test platform. what I'm going to do on the radio is I'm going to turn the RF gain down to where there's no noise at all using the internal battery, and then we're going to plug the external battery in and see if the noise changes. Okay, we have the internal battery back in for this test. Let's turn the radio back on. And there we are with our S9 noise floor. Again, you can see the noise meter up there, the signal strength meter up there next to the frequency. And what I'm going to do, we are, like I said, we're on the internal battery pack. This is on, so we need to turn this off. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this down until there's no more noise at all. So it's an S2 to S3. Let's keep going down until we get an S0. Okay, 59% RF gain. We have an S0 noise floor, so you can see the noise meter is near nothing. I moved it up closer to the camera, which is closer to the fluorescent LED, which is closer to the LED lights. Now we have 0. So first off, let's turn that on. I see no change on the meter. Now let's connect them together electrically. And you can see we're up to 100% power there. We're down to 50%. Plug it back in, we go back to 100%. So we are using external power, and I see no noise. We don't have the right antenna installed, but noise is noise. This is 20 meters on the wrong antenna. I'm just using the rubber duck. And we're doing pretty good on the noise. We still have an S0 noise floor, and that is with the external plugged in. So it's obviously going to be exactly the same with the external removed. Can't get better than better. I am pretty happy with these guys. Let's try a different band. Different band. Different band. There's some noise, but that's still an S0. That's at RF gain 100%. Let's turn the RF gain down. Yeah, so that's there at RF gain 0 also. But that's still S0. Let's do 10. 14 we already did. 18. 21. 24. 28. And we are so close to this battery pack, it doesn't even matter what antenna we're running. It would be impossible not to get a signal out of it. There's 6 meters. And I've got to turn that up to 80-some% in order to start seeing noise on the noise meter. Let's see if that's not what it is. We're back on battery power. We've unplugged the battery, and the signal rate, the noise rate went up. Let's plug that back in. Yeah, that's 6 meters, S5 noise, one way or the other. And we did 2 meters. There's 70 centimeters. All right. Squelch at 30%, 70 centimeter power at 100% because of external battery being in place. S9 noise floor, we'll turn that down. 62, let's unplug the external pack. Yep, it's the same, 62. I am going to call it. I am going to say that this thing is not producing any noticeable noise. This is the 8 amp hour battery pack, but it kind of doesn't matter. What I wanted to show you is something interesting that we found out. You have all of these different terminals, and maybe some of y'all know this, maybe some of y'all don't. This one over here is B-, and then if we tap into this one here, you can see on the, I'm not tapped in properly. You can see on the meter we get 11.2 volts measured there. Then we go to the next connector, and we get 3.7 volts measured there, and we go to the next one over, and we get 18.6, 18.7, and then we go over here to 18.9. So there you go. And the way these things are rated by DeWalt is 20 V max, 20 volts max, and we got 18.9. So that's a thing. But what that tells me is I can wire in directly by making up some janky cable like this, and I can take my B- and shove it in here, and I can take my B+ and shove it in to the next one over, And then if I measure this out, put that into the positive hole, put that into the negative hole, we're getting 11.2 on the meter over there, 11.3 on the meter over there. I don't recommend doing this. I recommend if you're going to do this, get a 3D printed case or something along those lines that has the right type terminals, not these type terminals. But as for a demonstration, you get the point I'm trying to make there. What I did do, though, is I put this thing on the... I did some pretty extensive research. The DeWalt themselves does not want to tell you how many amps they can get out of the battery, what the battery's actually rated for. Some tools, they tell you it takes 8 amps, which means it should produce at least 8 amps. That same exact tool on the same exact page tells you 300 watts. Well, 300 watts divided by 18.9 volts, 300, equals more than 8 amps. So which one of those two numbers on that exact same page are true? So then I went and I looked at these guys here, Scener, and they tell you the specs of the batteries that are in there. They tell you it's got overcurrent protection and overvoltage protection and so on and so on. Then it tells you it's got high current output. And then it tells you the type of cell that's there, and then it gives you a link to the data sheet for the 21700 cells that are in here. And then it says 35 amps max output per cell. And I'm sure that's not for a very long duration, and it's also rated at a different rating and so on. So what I did was I plugged this thing into my battery tester, and my battery tester, I was worried about overcurrent, but this thing's got overcurrent protection. My battery tester is supposed to be able to handle 20 amps, but I didn't read the fine print, and it's not 20 amps at 20 volts. It is only 9 amps at 20 volts, and what I wound up doing was blowing up my battery tester. So I need to get a new one of those on order. She's a goner. The screen powers on, but the MOSFET behind the fan here no longer does the thing. There was a nice click and a bad smell. But this thing put out upwards of 16 amps to get it done. So what does that mean for us radio folks? That means more than QRP. You can plug a G90 into this at 8 amps. I would definitely have no problem with that because I see enough ratings on that to do it. I don't know how long it would last you, because it's 8 amp hours at 20 volts. It's not 8 amp hours at 13 volts. So a little bit longer, a little bit less, but 8 amps is probably going to get you 2 activations, 2 POTA activations for sure. And then you can use this to build your picnic table to do your Parks on the Air activation. Most of your 100 watt radios though start around 20 to 25 amps of draw in order to get the job done. So it's still kind of at your own risk. I don't have the ability to test it. I'm not going to say it's probably fine, but at the same time, do some testing. Make sure that you are comfortable with destroying whatever it is that you're testing with, like I did, and take it from there. Okay, so I am pretty happy with that. A 4 amp hour battery on a QRP radio is going to last you quite a while. And these things will also let you build a picnic table first so that you can then sit down at that picnic table and make some contacts. I'm gonna leave some links down in the description for y'all about these different batteries and what you can get them adapter-wise for what kind of tools. But if you guys need something besides that, leave a link in the description down below and I will get you that shoe to go on top of that battery slab as well. I am on a mission this year to get 100,000 subscribers, and you can help. Right below the video, there is a subscribe button. Subscribing is free. Doesn't cost you anything, but it makes me happy. Sometimes subscriptions, in the old days, subscriptions used to cost money, but now subscriptions are free. So if you can click that button, I'd greatly appreciate it. In the meantime, there's a video right over here I think you might enjoy next. Thanks for being awesome. I'll see you over there.